Hello everyone, Paul de Klerk here, coming to you from Auckland in New Zealand. Today I'm talking with Martin Reynecke. He works for Perpetual Guardian, which is New Zealand's oldest professional trustee company. They're the ones that I refer you to for wills and things like this. So Martin, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Paul.
So where are you from originally?
Oh, I moved from South Africa 10 years ago, all the way from George.
Yeah.
And moved here with my wife, and I've got two teenage daughters. And hard to believe that the youngest was only in nappies when we arrived, and now they're teenagers. So it's been a journey, but really for the better, and why we all make the journey, isn't it?
So you live in Timaru in the South Island?
I live in Timaru down south. Yeah. Beautiful town. Reminds me a lot of George, where we're from. So It was quite nice to settle in.
George is gorgeous. I had an uncle that lived in George many years.
Yeah. I mean, the mountains on the one side, the ocean on the other. Timaru and the district's pretty similar. It's a bit smaller though. There's about 42,000 people in the Timaru district.
Right.
Compared to George, 150,000. So a little bit, but
well, this is New Zealand. There's more sheep than there are people.
Yeah.
So that's
a lot of farmers down there as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And a lot of dairy farms.
Yes.
So I grew up on a. My brother had a dairy farm many years ago, so a little bit of it is familiar.
Great.
But no, really good.
Well, today we want to talk about New Zealand wills. Now, as everyone out there knows, I'm a financial advisor that deals with life insurances and all these things. So to set up the issue though, people who are migrants to the country, they are basically uprooting themselves from their home country and coming here. And until you get residency, it can be a very particularly vulnerable phase. So I'm always recommending that people not only just do life insurances and things like this, but they look at their New Zealand wills. So what's your take on that? Does a South African coming here, do they need to do a New Zealand will over and above their South African will?
Absolutely, Paul. The South African will is not going to be valid in New Zealand. There's different legislation. So I always recommend that new migrants make a New Zealand will that's applicable to their New Zealand assets.
Right.
So of course, through your will, you would appoint an executor that would be administering your estate to make sure that what wishes you put in your will happen.
Carry out.
And of course, as you say, we've at Perpetual Guardian, we've been around for over 130 years, and we're professionals that do estate planning and make sure that your wishes actually happen.
It's in your name, right? That's why I refer to you guys, because Perpetual Guardian, you're always going to be there in perpetuity.
Yes.
Unlike a solicitor, the risk is that they can also die, or they can sell their practice or move on to other places, but you guys are always here. So okay, we know that every South African coming here needs a New Zealand will. For me, the particular issue is the children.
Yes.
Trying to make sure that they are guardians of children, because not a lot of people realize that until you get residency to live here indefinitely, right, it means that the children don't have that residency either. So if the main applicant or both parents were to die, who's going to be the guardians of these kids?
Yeah.
Right? High risk, they need to return to South Africa.
Yes.
All right, so appointing guardians for children, any tips there?
Oh, absolutely. It takes some time, and these are things that you would, regularly review, maybe every 2 or 3 years' time. As you say, depending on your migrant status, once you get residency or you become a New Zealand citizen, you make friends, more family come over, so you're going to update your will as that happens.
Right.
But bottom line is, without a will where you could nominate guardians in New Zealand, your children would pretty much end up in the foster care system.
Which is worst case scenario. It's a nightmare scenario. We don't want that.
Nightmare. It means even if family come over, there's visa requirements for them to come here, where if you had a will and you nominated someone as that guardian, they can act immediately.
Exactly. And we need the New Zealand will from within this jurisdiction appointing those people, because you're now living here. Yeah. All right. So if the family does have to, something we don't want to contemplate. You've uprooted yourself. You've taken a lot of compromises in your life to move here, but then one of us dies or both of us die.
Yeah.
The children have to return to South Africa. Now, as a financial advisor, I have a plan where instead of putting squillions in the hands of an estate or in the hands of a guardian or something like this, I prefer to have monthly payments pay out over time, minimum 15 years. It's a lot cheaper, all right, and it pays money out as it's needed. Now, this is why I'm always recommending Perpetual Guardian, and you fellas be professional executors of the estate. So what's involved there? You know, any particular things we need to know about you guys being a professional executor? How does that work?
Absolutely. Like you said, Paul, we are not going to die. You know, as a company, we have the appointment, not the individual. So with all our branches nationwide, it doesn't matter where you live, there's always going to be someone looking after that estate and investing that money for the children for their benefit. Now, New Zealand law says that a minor cannot receive the balance of their inheritance until they turn at least 20. So with those monthly payments from a policy, you would want someone professional, number two, that's independent, you know, that have the best interest for the children and the guardians at heart, to make sure that that money is kept on trust, and that we then sort of drip feed whatever the requirements for the children and the guardian is, to pay that money over to them. And that could be in New Zealand, that could be in South Africa. Today with you know, electronic banking, it's a click of a button once we've established that profile,
right,
to make payments. So there would be no delays, and we would know that the kids are taken care of.
Right, so the working together of your structures of your life insurances and your wills, the two need to work together very nicely. And so, like I say, I'm not a fan of when you don't have big debts like mortgages. I'm not a fan of the spouse or the kids get this big squillion-dollar payout. You know, spend wisely, please. I prefer the structure of making sure that the income that's now lost because we've died is going to be there to raise the children. That's the point. So, okay, so we know you guys can be professional executors. We know that the guidance, can all be sorted out. What a lot of people need to know, though, is that if I can do your life insurances for you, I will actually pay for people to engage with Perpetual Guardian and do their wills for them.
Yes.
Right? Now, tell us a little bit about this program you have called My Footprint.
Yes.
Right?
So Footprint is an online will tool for your clients to use, and you know, with filling in a quick questionnaire, would basically draft a will for them at very affordable cost. But as you say, you have an arrangement with your clients and with ourselves to make that even more affordable.
I'll pay for them.
I'll
pay for
fantastic.
them. So, because I think it's that important that the wills must be done. There's no point in just having a life insurance payout and it might end up in the wrong hands, or it might be administered in ways you didn't intend. We need to get the will done. So I will pay for those structures for everyone.
Absolutely. And you know, that is just the beginning of it. Through your life insurance process, to make sure that the proceeds go to those intended beneficiaries. But you know, you're going to have a will that's valid for all your New Zealand assets at the end of the day. You know, our financial circumstances change over time, depending on the decisions we make and where we move to. But your will's going to be valid and it's going to deal with your entire estate.
Yes.
So
okay, brilliant.
Absolutely.
So everyone will deal with, all of my clients, they'll deal with Perpetual Guardian. They'll get these wills done. It's a very easy, simple, very quick process. I always say to everyone, the will just needs to say 4 things. Do you want to be cremated or buried? Because it's funny the fights you can get in surviving family cremated. No, you're not burning my boy, you know, kind of thing.
Or how expensive is it to take your body back to South Africa?
Exactly right. So most people say cremated. Number 2, then where's your money got to go? You know, the children, the spouse, things like this. Number 3, who's the guardian's going to be? And then number 4, appoint an executor. So it's a very simple thing, really. It just needs to be done.
Absolutely. Right. Even more important to know that someone professional is helping you to draft your will. There's very strict requirements in terms of how your will gets signed and witnessed, and we're there to guide you through the way to make sure that your will is actually executed correctly, because it doesn't help to just try and do your own will and it's not valid. So that's the thing, you need to make sure that when it goes to court one day that you have a valid will.
Right. Well, Martin, we can talk a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
We can keep going. There's lots more to discuss, but thanks for your time today. I do appreciate it, buddy, and we'll do more of these in the future, I'm sure. Now, if you guys go online to my website, pauldeklerk.co.nz, if you fill in your details, I will immediately email you my frequently asked questions about wills in New Zealand. You can find out a whole lot more about how it works, and it's completely free. Don't go pay for this information. And then if you want to chat with me about wills or life insurances, anything like this, flick me your numbers and your details. No pressure, no obligation from me, but let's have a chat about these structures. Thank you guys, and God bless.
Bye-bye.